Good hungover morning, YouTube. I'm not an alcoholic, but I play one on YouTube.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream.
Woo, I'm gonna tell you, I am definitely feeling my age. Even though I'm not very old, I know I look older than I am. 50 something, 52. I can't even remember now. Yeah, I think I'm 52. Oh man, I'll tell you, I can't do the kind of stuff that I used to do. So as Heidi alluded to in the closing of yesterday's video, which I'm editing now, hopefully you guys have already seen it, or, well, obviously, if you're watching this one, you've already seen it. See what I'm saying? My brain's not quite caught up yet. She's getting off work. She's heading back to the camper, and she says, "What do you want to have for dinner tonight?" And we have food in the, obviously here. And I said, well, it's up to you. And she goes, do you want to try that restaurant? She goes, that's kind of what I wanted to do. She goes, I wanted to try the restaurant that was at the campground. Well, if you guys remember, I said the campground restaurant, which she didn't remember, was closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. Well, that was Monday. So I said, that one's closed. And I said, but we can go to the other one if you want to. There's another one that's, about 4 miles away from here. And I've driven past it. I drove past this place probably 1,000 times because my dad and my stepmom lived in Hartville, and my mom and my stepdad lived in Atwater, and I had to drive right past that. There was other ways to get there, but I always drove right past that place. It was called County Line 44. Now, here's the thing. After I had mowed the yard and came back, when I got back here, I watched a movie, I did some editing, and I poured myself a double of Yukon Jack. And then she called and I said, hey, we can go to that other restaurant instead of the one that you mentioned. And she says, okay, no problem. So then I poured myself a double of Yukon Jack. So then we went to the restaurant. I know Heidi didn't care for it. I thought it was fine. It's clean. It's not a dive. I wouldn't call it a dive bar. I would call it a small country bar. It's County Line 44, but it's a small country bar. Nothing, and I'm not talking about country western, although they did play country western in there. It's just, out in the middle of nowhere kind of a bar, and it was very pleasant. The atmosphere was pleasant. Everything was great there. I didn't have any issues with any of it, and the food was good for me. Heidi apparently didn't like what she had. But when I was there, I had a triple Yukon Jack. So then we got done with our meal, and I had tried to play some music through an app on my phone. Oh, I'm going to talk about some apps on the phone too. And on the app, it's AMI Music, it said, they had a jukebox there, and I thought it was an AMI jukebox. So whenever I tried to play my songs, nothing came on. And then I chose another bar that was in this little tiny area, which there's hardly anything out that way, that was just down the street that also had the name 44 in its name. It was called Sharp 44. Well, apparently I'd played music there, not at County Line 44. Again, you got to remember, it's out in the country. And for the fact that these bars are like 2 miles away from each other and they both have 44 in their name. So when we finished our meal, I told Heidi, I said, hey, why don't we drive down to that other bar and see what it looks like inside there. We went into the bar, and it really nice looking place. It was big. It was very open. I could see that place really packing people in there, just how big it was. It was very, very pleasant. I was shocked. And I was also shocked to hear they had Yukon Jack. So guess what I had? Another double of Yukon Jack. I was like, So then, as we were sitting at the bar, I got talking. Of course, Heidi and I was just chattering away at each other. And I said something about, we're not that far away from the bowling alley in which I used to bowl when I was in juniors. And they have a lounge there. And I've only been in that lounge a couple times. However, I told her, I said, maybe it's a thing that we do. I said, maybe we can go bowling. Now, I haven't bowled, really bowled, for a long, long time. But we do go, when we're in Alliance, we'll go up to the arcade, and they have this little bowling game that the balls are about so big, and then they have lanes, and all the pins are on ropes, and the pins are only about so big. And we like go do that and bowl a couple games after we'd been drinking, or after I've been drinking. So I told her, I said, maybe we can go bowling. She goes, okay, well, we'll go out there and we'll see. We went inside. There was leagues bowling. Summer leagues are usually really small, so there was just a few lanes. People were bowling. And then we went ahead and went into the lounge, where I had a Yukon Jack triple. While I was in there, I actually saw some people that I knew. One was my bus driver from high school, who was married to one of the junior bowling coaches. It was actually his son and I graduated the same year, and we were on the same bowling leagues together. And occasionally he would just help out, give a few bowling tips here and there. And it was nice to see them. Then we left and we came back here, and I'll tell you what, we parked the truck down in the overflow parking. I don't hardly remember the walk back. I don't remember the drive back. I don't know. It's just funny how it's kind of a blur. Oh, that's right. I totally forgot. We stopped, as Heidi had mentioned, and we stopped and saw Greg and Karen at, to add insult to injury, we stopped at Friendship Acres, and instead of course driving in, because we don't have a gate pass or anything, we went ahead and walked back to their site, and it's just kind of unannounced. And they apparently just had gotten back from somewhere, and so they gave me a little bottle, and it's still in the fridge, about so big, of moonshine. It's orange juice and moonshine. It tastes really good. It tastes almost like a rum runner if it had more berry in it. And of course, I drank that. Took a few swigs of that, and Heidi was mad because that was supposed to be for her. So you could see where my night was pretty blurry. Like I said, then we came back to the campground. I crashed. That was pretty much it. So I'm feeling the effects today. That's basically what that story means. But I do want to show you guys some stuff. And it has to do with apps. And it's real easy. I'm telling you, it's free. I'm not pushing any product this time. Go figure that out. I'm usually always pushing product at you guys. It's not so much I'm pushing product. It's just stuff that I use. And if I mention it, you guys might be interested in it. And I don't know. I figured that if we include our link for our Amazon account, that it would help us out. So that's why I always mention it. It's strange. It's a weird line to dance with some sort of a blog like this, because we'd really like just to communicate with you guys and just tell you what's happening. However, the sad fact is part of our revenue that we generate that'll help us with full-time, as people are commenting, that would help with full-time living, out on the road, is generated from Amazon. So one of the things you always have to do is mention it. It's kind of like handing out a business card every time you see somebody. And unfortunately, the people that you see all the time, that watch the channel all the time, they have to see or hear about my business card, Amazon affiliates, all the time. But occasionally somebody steps into the arena that never even knew about it. So anyways, this has nothing to do with that. This isn't a product. This is something that I think you guys should do. Even if you're not going to be full-time RVers, I think it's a great idea. And it has to do with your phones. The fact that we personally ourselves, we go through phones. Whenever there's a new phone that comes out, if it marks the right boxes for me, if it does something that I think is very, needed, like in our case, shooting video. I mean, I shot some of my video the other day on the phone. It comes down to, you might be that type of person that you guys are always regurgitating phones, and you have these old Android phones that are laying around, and unless they give you trade-in or something for, your new ones, which they did a couple, that's why I don't have, a couple extra S7 Edges laying around. We do have Android phones that are just laying around. On top of that, I have a big Android tablet. It's a Galaxy View. So that big tablet and two old phones are now relinquished to be free security cameras. And that's basically what I'm getting at. We have a bunch of old Android phones from plans in the past, and they're just laying around doing nothing. We couldn't get any money out of them if we wanted to, but they are legitimate Android devices. And even though they don't have any kind of cellular connection and they don't have a plan associated with them and they're paid off just sitting in a drawer, they do have the ability to connect to the internet through Wi-Fi. Well, I have really good Wi-Fi at home. And even if I didn't, and we were in the RV here, which I have done, I just did that yesterday, sometimes we'll leave, an extra phone that we have set up in the RV. And that gives us free security. It's a free security program. I went ahead and paid a little extra so I could get the HD version, but I went for a year and a half or 2 years without paying anything. I just wanted to use the standard definition, which worked fine. It's just at some point we decided to go ahead and upgrade because it's worked so well that I thought it'd be nice to be able to see a little bit more detail whenever we're out, because this thing has cloud recording and all kinds of stuff. So if an event happens, it will alert you, it will start recording, it'll show you what happened. You can talk to the phone. The people on the other end, of course, if there's any noise going on, you can hear it. There's an alarm on the phone. Like in the one case, I can take one of them and I can switch them around. I can flip them and make them look the other way. Anyways, it's called Alfred. That's the app. And I did a video on this in the past, and I'm telling you, this is what it looks like whenever you first pull up the app. You can see I've got 3 separate cameras there. And if you just click on any one of them, it pulls it up, and that's basically the house. It's inside the house, right inside the door. You can talk to people. You can set off the alarm. Like right now, I have a light on in the room. Let me go ahead and turn it off. Okay, Google, turn off office light. So now you can see it's dark in there because I turned off the light at home. And I've got another one out on the porch, and then we have automatic lights and stuff like that. And then we have one that's set up down by the garage. This one's a little bit, it's a cloudy day, as you can tell. So you can hear the traffic driving by, and I think that's kind of cool. I mean, all this is free. It's just connected to the Wi-Fi at the house. And then whenever we get deliveries or anything, you can see here. So I can see when somebody comes in, when they, anything for that matter. And the nice thing is if the phone has the ability to, you can turn on the phone's flashlight to illuminate. Of course, again, you can talk. You can turn on night vision. You can see what it looks like at night. Or if you have dual cameras, we can flip that around and I can see my backyard and see what's going on back there. And it's the same camera. So again, it's called the Alfred app. And if you have a bunch of, Android phones just laying around, or Android devices with cameras on them, why not? I had a drawer that had literally 3-4 phones in there, and I wasn't using any of them. So we just started setting them up. A couple of them didn't last very long because they were old. They were beat up and the batteries are beat up. But yeah, I thought that would be something I should bring up again. So slowly, as I'm recovering here from my little stint last night, and Heidi's at work. So today being Tuesday, she's got to work tonight. Of course, she's got to go to work tomorrow, and then she's off. Once she gets off on Wednesday, she'll be off Wednesday night. And we're actually going home on the day that she's off, and she wanted that. She wanted just to enjoy herself these few days that we had here, and she loves the drive to work. It's really short for her. I mean, it's the same distance essentially, but it's such country driving. It's really easy. She don't have to deal with any light-to-light driving. But when Thursday comes around, we'll be hooking up and heading back to the house at our own leisurely pace. And then she'll have all day Thursday off. And of course, I'll be trying to get all this video stuff taken care of. All right, I'm going to close this out so I can hurry up and edit this stuff, and we'll see what happens later on today.
So this is what we got going on right now. Hopefully you can see that. Some storms rolling through. It's pretty dark back behind us here. The sun is out, so it's rolling from that way. So we moving on that way, which is towards the house. Raining. Raining pretty good. still out, so hopefully it'll stop soon. Whew, it's raining pretty good. It's about 8:30 at night and we're getting ready to wind down. The rain has finally moved on. It's pretty quiet here tonight. Like there's not a peep. Nobody's out. Everybody must be in relaxing. Till next time. Talk to you later. Bye.